Hi, I'm Greta Oliver. Welcome to the EducateU podcast, your roadmap to learning tips, techniques, and strategies to enable your student to successfully navigate the road to and through higher education. Hi, everyone. It's me, Greta Oliver. I'm just coming to you on the EducateU podcast season 2 to kind of talk about something that's not necessarily a new trend, but it is something that's in the news lately and something that universities are beginning to pay more attention to, and that is legacy admissions and whether they should continue or not. And so basically, if you don't know, legacy admits are students that their parents actually went to the university to which they're applying, or maybe even their grandparents. And so these students can have a special advantage as far as getting admitted to the university. And there's a lot of controversy as to whether that's a fair thing or not. And while it's been going on for some time, it has recently been in the news, most recently with Harvard University, who has a really established legacy admissions policy that's been going on for some time. And so they are faced with some controversy because of that. And in one camp, there are individuals who feel that they should continue the legacy admits, and that is a way that they can have a bond with their alumni and a bond with some of their donors and things of that nature, and just uphold the integrity of the school and its selective admissions process. And then on the other hand, Harvard, as well as many other institutions, are also looking at how they're forming their freshman class, and they want to have classes where they're well-rounded, they have diverse populations in their classes, and all the students can come together and learn from one another. And so when you have two of those things going on in the same university, it can be problematic. And so that's what Harvard is really facing right now. On one hand, they want to uphold their legacy admissions policy. And then on the other hand, they want to have a diverse class. And sometimes those two don't go together, because if you think about it, legacy admissions takes into account the kind of students who have previously been going to the university. And for a university that's elite and selective like Harvard is, their students have been elite. They also have been largely white. They have been largely well off. And so when you're talking about bringing those kids or grandchildren to school and giving them an advantage in getting admission to the school, and then on the other hand, talking about you want a well-rounded class, they don't go together because those are not the same populations. And so they're going through a lot right now. So right now at Harvard, 14% of their class, their freshman class, are legacies. So they have, it's pretty high. And the underrepresented students, specifically the Black race of their incoming freshmen, is at 7%. So that's really 2-to-1. And so they really want to change that, or if not change it, at least examine what is going on, and if they want to make a change, how they can go about doing that. And so, so far in the US, some universities that have previously had legacy admissions programs, they've stopped them, they've abolished them. And there are also some states in the United States where they have written laws and passed laws that students cannot, or universities cannot have legacy admits. They cannot entertain that idea. Okay, so there's at least one state in the United States where that's an issue. But as I was saying, federal funds are coming into the mix, as well as state funds. And there have been laws passed that if universities continue with the legacy admissions and continue with these practices that kind of exclude other individuals from coming into their university in a fair and equitable way, they will not be able to receive or continue to receive as much federal funding or state funding. And so that's something that, everybody wants to know, how that's going to play out, because a lot of institutions are really, counting on those funds to be able to stay in existence. Also at Harvard, they have a program where they have a particular group of students that they're kind of targeting, and it's called the ALDC Admits. And these students are athletic recruits, legacies, which we've been discussing, which are relatives of the alumni, the dean's choice. And so there's a list of students that are the dean's choice, and primarily these students are individuals who their parents are donors or major givers, or have some tie to the university that's, bound by finances. And then there are the children of the faculty and staff that actually work there. And so they have this group of people. And a lot of times this group is comprised of people who will not be making the class look more diverse. And so it's still a way of kind of excluding other people from what some think is a fair way to get admitted to college. Now, we know that, basically it's hard. It's hard. It's becoming more difficult for students anywhere to get admitted, because you really don't know what institutions are looking for. And so students are putting their hat in the ring and applying to 15, 20 universities in the hope that, they'll get admitted somewhere that's a top choice for them. And so it's kind of hard when you don't know what they're looking for. And if they are saying they're looking for things that are really opposing each other, or opposite one another, then, you really don't know if you have a shot. And so Harvard is also talking about, its initiatives to try to admit individuals who, typically would not be able to attend Harvard. And when they say that, they basically mean underrepresented students. And they're talking about low income students. And so Harvard considers a student low income if their parents do not make at least $80,000 a year. And so, okay, so you're going to hold the spot for these individuals, and then they also have to meet all the other academic criteria to be able to be admitted to Harvard as well. And so it's just like a dicey time right now in admissions for universities who are using legacy admissions or looking for legacy admits, as well as those who are not. And so I just wanted to come on and give you some information about that and let you know that that is something, though it's been going on for quite some time, it's still in, the conversations that are being held. It's also being looked at by the U.S. Supreme Court as to whether Harvard specifically can continue to consider race in their admissions process. And so we know that's always been a problem. It's been a problem forever. It's been a problem ever since we learned about Bakke years ago. And so it's just kind of interesting how this is going to play out. So for more information, as it comes down the pike, stay tuned, and I'll let you know what's going on and how this is all playing out. And for now, I'll say good night, and I'll see you next week on EducateU. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on EducateU. If you wish, you can send me your questions or comments about the college-going process or the podcast contents by sending an email to Dr. Greta at gretaoliverconsulting.com. Also, beginning each week after the podcast airs, check for a companion blog on my website's blog page at gretaoliverconsulting.com. My book, College Roadmap, Essential Tips for First-Time College Students and Their Families, is available for sale on Amazon.com. Join us next week for another tip or strategy to make the road to higher education easier for your student.